Indigenous peoples and local communities, they actually occupy very often areas. They are very rich in biodiversity. One estimates that they occupy about 20% of the global land area, which contains about 80% of the global biodiversity. And in there you have wildlife. Also, indigenous peoples and local communities have vast experience with wildlife. They have been living with wildlife for many generations. They have knowledge about the wildlife and about the relationship between humans and wildlife. They also know how to best manage their land and how to ensure the survival of both wildlife and humans. So this is why their traditions and knowledge can play an important role in biodiversity conservation and management. Their knowledge and potential contribution has often been overlooked. They haven't really taken on board in conservation strategies, or that is why we're saying that a greater empowerment of indigenous people, such as by giving them more rights or control over wildlife resources, can contribute in increasing conservation efforts in affected territories. For example, in the northern part of Mount Kenya, there's a Maasai group called the People of Wildlife who own and operate the only rhino sanctuary in the country. And what they do is actually they manage to alleviate human-wildlife conflicts by reducing bush cutting to thereby leave more fodder for animals and thereby ensuring a harmonious coexistence between wildlife and populations. So human-wildlife conflicts is actually an issue FAO has been working extensively, mainly in Africa. So what are human-wildlife conflicts, first of all? Well, these are conflicts arising in rural areas, mainly in agriculture, where elephants or other animals are destroying harvests, are destroying crop fields, or wildcats such as lions attacking domestic animals, which are often the main source of revenues for rural families, which then can threaten their livelihoods and ultimately their food security. One solution, single solution, is often not enough. You need a right combination of solutions. So, for example, in one national park in Gabon, where there was a lot of human-wildlife conflicts, especially elephants, but also others, they ultimately came up with a variety of solutions using fencing, using making noise, using fire to scare animals away, and then also posting guards to prevent or reduce human-animal conflicts.